Hi, my name's Gerry. I'm a boat owner, and this happens to be my boat. It's a twin troller X10. Now I've owned it for over 6 years, well over 6 years at this point, and I've done all kinds of things to it, some of which I have turned out to like, some of it I haven't. There's a lot of people that contact me and ask me about things that I've done to my boat. So I just thought I'd kind of go over the things I like, some of those things that I don't like, and why. Especially if you're a new boat owner, follow along. Some of these items that I've done have come from the kayak world. I used to own a kayak before I owned this boat, but before that, I owned lots of boats. Come see what I've done. Let me start out with the first thing that triggered this video. This is a battery that goes to my fish finder. It's a Garmin 93SV UHD. I wanted a separate battery so I'm not drawing off the main propulsion battery. This is a lithium battery. I bought it through Amazon. I did a video about this, so you might have seen it. When I bought this, Amazon popped up and said, this is the charger for it. Well, you need a special charger for lithium batteries because they charge different. So I bought this. It has different modes, and it has a button here that turns red when it's charging, and then it turns green when it's done. This never turns green, ever. I can have this sitting on the charger for a week. It never turns green. I didn't think too much of it, but in a recent fishing trip, my fish finder died, ran out of power. So I've finally concluded that it's likely that this charger really isn't a good one for this. It doesn't put out enough power and it never gets fully charged. So what did I do? Well, I'll show you in a second, but this is a charger that goes to my main propulsion battery, which is a lithium charger. The lithium charger is a heavier amperage. This one goes up to 15 amp, but it also, you can set a mode to bring it down to 6 amps, and it's in lithium mode. So I've decided I want to use this charger to charge this one. And I've done it already, and it works great. Well, how did I do it? The old charger that I don't like came with this connections. So I would break my quick connect and plug it in, and then I ran connector to connector and plugged this into that charger. This is kind of dangerous. I would wrap it with a towel so they didn't touch each other. And let me disconnect it so that I can't, by accident, short it out. I decided that I need to do something different. This is the quick connect for this. I like the idea of having these clips because if I had some other kind of battery I wanted to charge that wasn't lithium, this charger is capable of doing that as well as any lithium and all kinds of combinations. So I didn't want to cut this. So I bought this in a package yesterday, came from Amazon. And what is it? It is one of these, but it has ring terminals on the end. This is exactly what is connected to my battery itself. I'm going to take this, I'll cut this off so that I'll have one of these quick connectors. I will cut off these ring terminals. I will connect this onto here so that I can connect this charger, this charger to here. This little connection will be permanently, then will have this connection on the end, and I'll be able to unplug this from the fish finder, plug this into here, and then charge it with the other battery charger. Some of you would be saying, when you get back from fishing, the onboard charger needs to be charged and this battery needs to be charged, and that's true. The onboard charger in a lithium only takes about 4.5 hours or so, maybe 5 hours to charge. Then I can just come over and plug this in and charge this and leave it on it till the next day, whatever, and this will be charged. I did find after charging this with this charger that my fish finder now will run again all day long, and I don't have an issue about the capacity of the battery. Clearly it was an issue with that charger not being sufficient to charge a 16 amp lithium battery and get it up to speed. So in a little while, I'll cut these off, I'll cut that off, I'll connect these into here, so it will be ready to go. There's two things here I want to show you. One is a lockable pin for the receiver. What I don't want to have happen is come back from fishing and there be no trailer because somebody stole it out of the parking area for the boat launch. I've shown you this before. It's Reese Teflon trailer ball lube. Kind of looks like that. I smear that on the inside of the thing here, and I smear a little bit on the ball. This works really well. It gets lubricated and not an issue. This is a trailer jack. I can't imagine not put one of those on here. It allows me to stand it up and crank it to put it onto the ball as well as to take it back off after I lift this up, roll this across the garage floor. And underneath it, you can see this. These work great. It's a donut-like thing, and what it does is it allows the trailer to stay in place so that it won't roll. This is a PVC pipe, comes up, it's got a little reflector at the top. I put a couple of bolts through it to tighten it here. My purpose in doing this was so that I could, while backing up, have some idea where the trailer is. As the trailer, if it turns this way, this will move over. If it goes the other way, it'll go the other. It isn't the greatest indicator, but do I want to remove it? No, I don't. There's a couple of things here. One is a rope. I don't really know how long it is. It is, to me, clearly long enough for me to, and I have it attached here. I back the boat into the water. I step into the water and I can give it a shove and slide it off the trailer, and then I can use the rope to pull it back around the boat and beach it. And I untie this, throw this in the back of the vehicle, and go park the vehicle. Something I noticed early on was when I would use this strap the way how it is conventionally used, people go like this, and then they tighten it, which works great. But after a couple of years, I started to notice my strap is starting to get frayed here, and that's because of the way how I'm doing this. So I didn't want to have it break off, so I bought this little strap. This is like 1,500-pound strap. I have a link to it on the bottom of my video, as I do with all the rest of my items. Just below the screen, you'll see show more, and if you're looking at it on a cell phone, it doesn't show up. You got to be looking at it on a computer or a tablet or something like that. But there I have links to all of these, where I got it and all that. But I found this to be much better and easier to use. Now I'm pulled up tight. This is really strong. I'm not worried about it breaking. As a matter of fact, I'm worried about it breaking less than I am about that frayed strap. So this works good. When I get home, I always loosen this so that I'm not pulling, keeping pressure on the handle all the time. These are dirt cheap, and they come in a package of, I think it was 6. I usually leave it hanging on this. If somebody was to steal it while I was out fishing, not a big loss. I can always wrap the strap around and then go home and get another strap. What am I trying to show you here? I'm trying to show you this bumper, and particularly its support. This thing wobbles all over the place. I went to the store and bought some aluminum, different kinds, different thicknesses. I'm going to most likely use this. It turned out to be an angle 1/16 inch thickness, 3/4 inch by 48 inches aluminum. I got this at Home Depot. A little bit hard to show you at this point. I will get this to the place where I want it. This tends to get bent down. I may just bend it back up. I'll drill a hole through it to put through that bolt, and then I'll have 2 bolts at the bottom that will come through here, one at the bottom and one here to hold it in place. I'll mount one from here going straight down, and I'll do it on the other side also. That will greatly reinforce this bracket. I've seen other people do that. Great idea. I installed D-rings, one on each side of the trailer in the same spot. And then I have this tie down. It's a ratchet strap. It's got a hook on the other side, hooks on that one. This one comes up to here. And then I crank this down. I usually take a small rag like this. I put it underneath it here, and then I tighten it down. There's 2 things that this does. This is to keep my decals from getting peeled off. As you can see, my rods are here, and I always put my reels ahead of the strap so that these are hanging backwards, and this keeps them from popping out of the boat. The boat came with 2 rod holders, one here and one in the upper right. I've installed 2 more identical to this so that all 4 corners have them, or at least they have the bracket for them. But these also help, especially the one in the front on the other side, as well as the one that's directly across from this one. Keeps everything in the boat. All my rods, I don't have to really worry about them, and the strap over the back keeps them in place. Great idea. When I get here, I always release this so that I'm not putting pressure on the back of the boat all the time. Yeah, this is, and then I usually just leave it here loose. All right, there's 2 things here. One is called bearing buddies. You can see it here. This is a bearing buddy, and what it is, it's a spring-loaded mechanism. You put your grease gun on this end, pump it up. Let me show you what this looks like. If you pull this off, it's called the bearing buddy bra. You can see this here, and you can see a little bit of greasy oil water here. So whenever you take that cup off, have the a rag or something here or it will drip. When you pump grease into here, this blue ring pushes out, and you can see it's extended out now. That means that it's got enough grease in there. The spring-loaded is trying to push it through past this bearing, and then the hub is full of grease past the next bearing, and then it pushes it out on the inside if it gets there. What it also does not do, it does not allow the water, when you put the boat in the water, to come backwards and get inside the hub and then get inside the bearings and cause the bearings to fail. To me, I wouldn't have a boat without that, and occasionally I just take that thing off, look at it, and know whether or not I need it to be greased or not. Here's something else that I put on not long after I got it, because the original lights that come with the trailer are kind of open to the bulbs. So water can get inside the lens and cause corrosion after a little while. It didn't take too long. The bulb started to get some corrosion on it and started to act up. So these are LED ones. They're not expensive, but you can get them anywhere. LEDs can be submerged because they're sealed. A lot of people seem to be concerned about their license plate getting bent because it's mounted in this location. I can't tell you how many times I put this boat in and out of the boat launch, and I don't ever hit anything with that license plate. If it got a little bent, I don't really care. I'll just bend it back down. Some people seem to be concerned about that. I'm lucky I have a boat launch that I go to the most, which is about 2.5 miles from the house. But if I go to other lakes, I often feel more comfortable carrying a spare tire with me, and that's what this is. I have a link to that below the video. And this is used to get the bolts off of it, because the one that's with your tow vehicle may or may not have the right size openings on them to screw them on and off. Now this one's been in my family a long time. Used to be my dad's, and it still works just fine. You can buy a brand new one, all shiny, all that stuff, but this works just as good. Now what is this? I did a video on this recently. It is a trailer jack. Let's say you have a flat tire. How are you going to get this up in the air to change the tire, put on your spare? You're going to take this, put this like this, and then you're going to back up. And the way how this works is it rolls, as this rolls backward, it's longer on this side, and it literally lifts the trailer on this side off the ground so that the tire is loose and you can get it off. That thing is invaluable to me, as well as the tire and tire iron. If you broke down on the side of the road, what do you do then? Okay, what is this? Well, you see a lot of people build a casting deck. That's what this is, but mine is different than most. Normal casting deck is this size. I don't know what the dimensions are. There's plenty of videos, and I did a video about building this. I also installed an aluminum ruler down the middle, and I have this little piece here. So if I wanted to lay down a fish to measure it, I put his nose up against this, and it measures it out, and I can take a picture, video, jump up and down, scream and yell, whatever you want to do. And then you just put that back down when you're done. People stand on this. They hop up on here, they fish from here, they do all kinds of things. I don't want to step up here to fish from here. But if I wanted to, this is plenty big enough. And what I built this to do was I split it down the middle into two pieces, and I attached this little hook. So if I have the two hooks on, one on each side, then these can't come apart. But if I don't want to use it, I go like this. What is it then used for by me, which I always have this in the boat now? It is a workbench. I put tackle on here. I put my pliers if I'm not using them in my hand. Baits, I put them up here. I use it as a table to work from, and it's fantastic. It's not in my way at all. You know, I can still move this up farther, completely clear the pedals if I want, whatever I want to use it for. I can put my lunch up here, and I can have a picnic if I want. I also found that to get in the boat, I wade into the water right over here, and I lean over the boat, lean onto this to get the boat stable, to get me stable, lift my foot up over, step in there, and then I lean harder on this and get my other foot in here, and it works the same way getting back out of the boat. I use this as part of my way to get in and out of the boat. What's an advantage of that? Well, this can go behind my seat for my partner if I'm fishing with two people in the back. So I just do the same thing. Behind my seat, I set that one down, and he has a place to work from. And if you're not going to use it, set it on the floor. Early on after I got my boat, I realized I need a little bit more space to put some of my gear into the boat. I built this. This is just 1/2-inch PVC pipe. I have a video about me building this and building the bottom rack. These tackle boxes slide one on each side, and there's enough space to put one of these underneath here. I can put some other things over here. So there's one on this side, one on the other side. And then you see that sheath there? I just use zip ties, and one of them holds a little pair of scissors, which are really good for clipping braided line, a pair of needle nose pliers, and that I made, which is a little pick in case you get a backlash on a bait caster and you need to pick it out. This is the back seat, so I put one on the leg of the seat right here also, but these are very handy. That's the back of the front seat, and I'm not even going to talk about that, but it's very handy. This is an inflatable life jacket. This particular brand is called Suspenders. It's pretty much one of the original ones that came out, and this one, unlike newer ones, has more buoyancy in it. The bladders in here are larger. I kind of like that idea. You wear it just like a regular vest, clip it around your waist, and I'm never in the boat without that. Well, what is that? That's the plug to the boat, the drain plug. After I get off the lake, I always take the plug out in case there's any water that let it drain. But I always put it here. I go like this. I put this little rope around it. I attach it around here, and I leave it here. That's where it sits. When I get out of the vehicle, in order to get everything in the boat ready, I have to walk past here. I can't miss this. So I never, where I haven't put this on the boat, in the hole, that issue never is forgotten. Okay, this is my Garmin fish finder. The fish finder isn't the issue, but one of the nice issues out of this is the ram mount. I have two ram mounts here, one on top of the other, and they're fully adjustable. I can loosen this, I can put it like that, I can go wherever I want, and then the top one can adjust at this joint up here as well as this joint, where this one adjusts down here at the ball at the bottom, and this one, this works really great. This gave me the height with two of these that I want the screen at here. Here is a fishing rag. You should always have a rag in your boat. It has a carabiner clip on it, so I clip it around here so I can't lose it, and I just stuff it here. It is handy as heck. It's right there where I want it. Should you want a GoPro or a camera, you can do a different kind of fitting and put it on. I put this little track here. I wanted it to be a little bit taller than my fish finder, so I can kind of view over the top. You put this, slide this in, and you spin the bottom until it gets really tight. So now it's not going anywhere. If you wanted to move it a little bit, I can go farther around here or farther back to here, wherever you want to put it. One of the nice things about this is once it's tight, this looks over the top of this fish finder. If it's, depending on what position it's in, it's not in my way. But let's say I'm out there and I catch a fish here, or I catch a fish over there, or one over here. All I gotta do is grab a hold of this and turn it. This joint rotates, and it's quiet, so I can grab it and go like this. I can go over there. If the fish is, I'm bringing them in on this side most of the time, I could just tip this down a little bit. Once he's in the boat, I could pull this back a little bit, tip this here, video of me taking measurements, whatever, taking it off the hook. I could even turn it around like that and talk to you while I'm sitting in my seat. Very versatile. This worked out really well. I have a video about building this, installing the little bracket on the bottom, and about building the entire thing and where I got all that. Underneath the seat, there's a seat slider. There's a little handle here, so it moves forward and backward. Total of 9 inches it will move. And when I built that, I raised the entire seat by the thickness of a 2x6, and then there's the thickness of this, so by the time I got done, the seat is about this much taller. I put one of these also on the back seat. It really works great. It allows me to back the seat up. Say I'm fishing and I'm alone and I don't have the second seat in, and I want to swing around so that I can get to the back of the boat. Without this, this would normally be here, so my knees would be out here. I've got rod, tackle, and stuff way out here, and I found it to be difficult to swing around all of this, where I just slide it all the way back, and swinging around is not a big deal. I can get to the back, start up the Honda 2.3 gas motor, spin around, and off I go. This is a weed removal tool. Most weeds, the twin troller isn't affected by. Loose, soft weeds that grow up underneath the boat get sucked into the motors and can cause a mess. Reaching down and around the side of the boat is not the easiest thing to do. You need gorilla arms to be able to do that, and I don't have them. What does this do? I did a video on creating this. Let me quickly show you how this works. Sitting in the boat, if I'm alone, I'm generally probably about there. If I'm on the left side, I've got it around this wrist. This is another thing. I never leave the shoreline without this in the boat. And I just take this, slide it underneath the boat. You can see down there. And I swish it back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down, until I catch all the weeds, or most of them. And I pull them out, clean this off, stick it back in, and I go back and forth, back and forth. And this does a great job. And this is where I store this. Short handle is the part I grab a hold of. The long part I stick straight down the back, through up all the wires, and leave it like this. I can do it on this side or that side. It's completely out of the way, and it works great. I have a fire extinguisher mounted here. It's mounted so it's slightly off the floor, so that if I'm washing the boat, any kind of dirt and stuff doesn't get caught underneath it. But you can just pop it right off here really quick. It's a marine fire extinguisher. I belonged to 2 volunteer fire companies in my past. This is something that's important to me. I've been to a lot of fires. I've also been on a boat that I owned that was on fire. And it is a hair-raising experience. Luckily, it turned out okay, but I always have a fire extinguisher.